Hello everyone. This is Cal. Now, Cal loves science, he's a little rich, and he's from Minnesota, so he doesn't know much about earthquakes. Cal is the person that we're going to be following through this story as we go through the steps of scientific method. Now, what Cal doesn't know is he's about to embark on a scientific adventure. He will use a scientific method to solve a problem he faces. Along the way, I'll point out the steps of scientific method, along with some other key terms and key factors. Now, here we see Cal moved to California. He bought himself some land on the edge of a cliff overlooking the ocean. He has also built himself quite a nice house on top of that. Seems like Cal has a life, right? But what is that big red line going right through the cliff that Cal owns? It's a fault. Now, a fault is an extended break into a body of rock marked by the relative displacement and discontinuity of strata on either side of a particular surface. Now, it could be problematic if there was an earthquake. And unfortunately for Cal, an earthquake occurred. The earthquake caused the cliff to break right on the fault line. We see Cal has lost his house, and he begins his scientific method. First thing Cal does is observe. Cal observed that the earthquake occurred, and that the cliff collapsed, making his house fall down to the beach. Next, Cal makes a hypothesis. His hypothesis is that the earthquake must have caused the cliff to break. And he does this through inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is when you move from specific instances to a generalized conclusion. So again, this specific instances were the earthquake and the cliff collapsing, to a general conclusion that the earthquake caused the cliff to break. Now, Cal wants to conduct an experiment. So Cal bought a similar cliff with a similar fault line and built the same house on top. Now he's trying to make the conditions as similar as possible for the most accurate result. He also gets an earthquake simulator so that he can mimic the earthquake power that caused the first cliff to fall. Now Cal is carefully conducting the experiment to test his hypothesis, and it worked. Cal managed to set up and conduct the experiment successfully and received his desired outcome. Cal now analyzes the results, which is the next step inside the scientific method, and he makes the conclusion that it was in fact the earthquake that brought down the cliff, breaking the fault line, and you share your results, which he did with the Hulk. Now, if we look over to the sun, he explains that Cal used deductive reasoning this time. Now, deductive reasoning is different because deductive reasoning moves from generalized principles that are known to be true to a specific conclusion. So, like the earthquake using the fault line to collapse, bringing it to the conclusion that yes, it was in fact the earthquake that caused the fault to collapse. Now, back here, we saw that Cal made his hypothesis that the earthquake is what caused the cliff to break. An hypothesis is an untested explanation or idea. So again, he hasn't performed his experiment and tested his hypothesis yet. So that remains a hypothesis. A theory is a well-tested and widely accepted view that the scientific community agrees to be the best explanation for certain facts. So example, the theory of evolution is the best example because it is so widely accepted, but it's not a law because a law has to be 100% guaranteed to be true. So certain laws, like the law of gravitation. The law of gravitation states that a particle attracts every other particle in the universe using force directly proportional to the product of masses and proportional to the square of the distance between them. So for example, that would be like Cal's house coming down to the beach from the earthquake. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.